Quality garden lighting fittings, cheap outdoor lighting fittings. Why is there such a huge variation in quality? Why is there such a big difference in price? You thinking about garden lighting, you just don't know which fittings you should buy? Well, I'm going to give you some tips and talk about quality versus cheap garden lighting today. Hi, I'm Barry from the Garden Lighting Company, where we transform outdoor spaces into stunning night scenes. And today I'm going to answer some of those questions and try and help you along that journey of determining what is a good light fitting and what is not in terms of quality and longevity. So why is there such a difference in garden lighting fittings? There's a saying going back 100 years ago from John Ruskin, and I'm just going to read this because I want to get it right because it's so relevant to garden lighting today. And he said, "It is unwise to pay too much, but it is worse to pay too little. When you pay too much, you lose a little bit of money, and that's all. When you pay too little, sometimes you lose everything because the thing you bought was incapable of doing the thing it was bought to do." Unfortunately, we see this all the time with garden lighting and outdoor lighting fittings, where a person has gone for the cheaper option, and whilst it might have seemed a good deal at the time, further down the track they regret it because the light fittings just do not last. Hey, let me tell you a story about one of our clients. We did a job for this client. We installed probably about 40 odd lights 3, maybe 4 years ago. That was stage 1 of their project, and they were going to do stage 2, which was about the same number of lights. Well, unfortunately for them, their electrician talked them into using a different light fitting, which was nowhere near as good. About 18 months later to 2 years, they contacted us as so many of the lights just weren't going anymore. We went and had a look at the system and found that over half of them had failed for all sorts of reasons. We ended up replacing all 40 of the lights. So what seemed a good deal at the time turned out to be a very expensive exercise, because not only did they pay the lights, which might have been a bit cheaper than a quality light, but they then had to pay us to pull them all out and install a good quality, reputable light fitting. We have a saying, do it right or don't do it at all. So whilst you could go for the cheaper option and save a few dollars, it will very likely cost you more in the long run. So I'm going to give you some tips now as to how you can make that decision, how you can determine or help determine as to whether a light fitting is a good quality fitting or whether it's one you should look out for. So tip number 1, what is the water resistance or water tightness of the fitting? This is measured by ingress protection, known as an IP rating. We believe that a good light fitting for outdoors should be at least IP65. So the higher the number, the better the waterproof is. IP64 is okay, IP65 is better, and if it's a light that goes under the water, it needs to be IP68. Tip number 2, what is the light fitting made out of? Now, too often we look at the exterior of the light fitting. We think, oh, this is a good copper or stainless steel light fitting. It should last. And yes, when you look at the shop, they do all look similar, don't they? Let's just talk about copper. It's not just what the outside looks like, because copper is copper, and copper will last a long time, even though there is various grades. But that's not quite as important as what holds it together as to what you don't see. You see, in so many of the light fittings that we find fail, it's what holds it together. It's those swivels, it's the nuts and the bolts that so often are just not good quality. And that's what fails, letting the whole light fitting down. So they might look okay in the showroom, but a year or 2 or 3 down the track, they look completely different. So check this out. This is one of those copper examples. Look at that. The copper looks fine here, but it's those pieces that you can't see that fail. There's a close-up of it. Look at that. Would you believe it? Totally rusted and corroded out. All too common. Oh, look at that one, will you? That set fire to the garden because components inside failed. And here's some stainless steel, and this is a typical example of incompatible metals where you can see it's just breaking down there. All sorts of problems with rusting through, the spikes breaking off. Cover looks okay, doesn't it? But what's in behind it? Oh, corroded and nasty, and inside, oh, even worse. Keep away from that. Look at that one. Didn't keep the water out, but did a great job keeping the water in. Tip number 3. We believe it's really good to have the flexibility of being able to replace the LED lamp or bulb. Now, some light fittings come with a bulb that's an integral part of the fitting. In other words, when the LED lamp fails, you have to replace the whole fitting. It becomes a rather expensive exercise. So we prefer the light fittings where it uses a lamp or LED bulb that can be easily replaced. This gives you flexibility as well. Number 1, you can replace the bulbs yourself, but number 2 is that you can change the lamp. So sometimes you need one a bit stronger or a bit weaker. The lamps come from a 15-degree spotlight, which is a very fine narrow spot, right through to a 60-degree, which is a real floodlight. So it gives you the flexibility to achieve exactly the right effect that you need for your garden lighting. Tip number 4. How resistant is the light fitting to the environment? In other words, in a salt environment such as we are here in New Zealand, is the light fitting going to withstand the salt environment? Unfortunately, all too often we see powder coated fittings that have not been anodized and where the aluminium has not been treated correctly or at all, and in no time at all, those fittings fail, or a complete disaster, and again very expensive. So you need to make sure that it's a good material that the light is made out of, especially when it's powder coated. A lot of the light fittings we use, such as Moonscape, they have a marine grade anodized aluminium finish on them, those that are not copper, that is, and that lasts forever. I mean, we use those lights, and I live only 200 meters from the sea, and I've had them in for over 30 years. No sign of deterioration at all with this coastal salt environment. Number 5. I believe this is probably one of the best indicators, and that is the warranty. Surely the warranty has to be a statement from the manufacturer as to how confident they are in their product, in the environment it's going to be installed. So the longer the warranty, the better it is. Now, we generally use 3 quality New Zealand brands. We do use 1 or 2 others, but these are our preferred, and that is Hunza, Moonscape and Switch, all manufactured here in New Zealand. They all have different warranties. Hunza, for instance, has 5 to 25 years. Most of them average about 10 years on their outdoor lighting fittings. Moonscape have a 10-year warranty on all their products, and Switch Lighting, they offer on their outdoor lights a 5 to 7-year warranty. So the warranty is a very important factor to consider. So Henry Royce from the Rolls-Royce Motor Company had a great saying, and that was that quality will be remembered long after the price is forgotten. So if you've picked up one tip, if you take one thing away from this video, that is, go for quality fittings if you're wanting your garden lighting to last. Quality light fitting, good warranty is going to be way more reliable for you. And with those companies that give a good warranty, if there's a problem, they've been around for a long time, they're going to put it right for you because it's their name that's at stake. That is why we stick to the good brands. Hey, I hope you found this helpful. If you've enjoyed this video, if it has been helpful, please just click the like button. I'm Barry from the Garden Lighting Company, and we transform outdoor spaces into stunning night scenes. Thanks for watching.